Welcome back to the Now Morning Show. And as I like to say, the F in Friday is for food. And so we are talking meals on a budget. And so joining us this morning, we have Chef Simmone, who, of course, is no stranger to the show. Chef, welcome back.
Hi, thank you. I've missed you guys.
I missed you as well. I say after lunch, you're just gone, nothing at all. Like, he wasn't going to see you.
Y'all can't get rid of me that easily.
So we're talking, of course, meals on the money, right? But before we get into that, just give us an overview of some of the affordable things we can see on our grocery shelves.
Well, I would always tell people, you have to be able to go out, yes, into the grocery. You're going to see things going up in price, but you have to actually give some time and thought into you know, when you go to spend your money, because a lot of times what people do is that they would just, I have to go to the grocery because I know I need to stock up, but not plan what they need to get.
So do you talk about like a list, like you're getting with a list?
So the number one trick that we always tell people, first of all, have something to eat before you go to the grocery. Okay, you spend bad. The minute you see things, hey, oh shucks, I might feel for this later, because right now you're hungry and you're going to just start a pull. So that's when our you know, budgets go way out of whack. Planning is very, very necessary. Sometimes you have to sit, make a list. I am going for these items, and go and get them. Because sometimes, like, you might know, or you forget that you have some carrots in the fridge. You forget you have meat in the fridge that your season must be 2 weeks ago, whatever. Plan, check what you have, and go with like a sensible you know,
option.
Yes, correct.
And what about those options? Because I've heard people often said, if it is you're buying a particular brand and that brand is too expensive, go to the cheaper alternative.
Yeah, a lot of people.
But quality, chef.
Yeah, you can't. There are some things you literally just have to buy that. Based on there are no other options. However, there most of the time would have a lot of options where you can substitute certain things for other things. So I tell people sometimes butter is expensive. Butter has gone
it's Mr.
past.
Butter now. You have to put handle to the name.
Correct. So margarine is a thing that you could use, and it is slightly healthier because it does not have much of the animal fat in it. Most of the times you have margarines that have vegetable shortening and stuff like that in it. So in addition to having healthy meals, you can eat healthy on a budget as well. So that is exactly what I'm going to show you guys.
Well, let's get
how
to
to kind of do it this morning. So, you know, my go-to healthy, quote unquote, grain.
Quinoa!
You got it. And you're going to get some extra quinoa today. All right. So what I did this time, you all would have been familiar. You all are familiar with the quinoa. However, quinoa is a thing that a lot of people may not know how to flavor. And so they just boil it and think like,
you're done.
We're done.
Right.
Quinoa, literally, you can put anything in quinoa to brighten it up, to give you the flavors. Use the vegetables that you want. So this entire meal here, first of all, have been literally sourced locally. There is a company, I would not call the name, I would leave you to go experiment and find them in the grocery, that actually sells quinoa, so you do not have to buy the international brand.
So local quinoa.
Correct. Well, locally produced and sourced quinoa.
Chef, just now, I see you putting real plenty quinoa on this plate now.
Right, so we are doing meals on money for your family, so it's not like just for you.
No. I wanted to ask in terms of when you replace quinoa, when you replace rice with quinoa, for example, what is the difference in terms of the quantity that you need to consume to be full?
Right, so it's almost the same thing. The good thing with quinoa, because it is a grain, it's not. It's one of those super grains that it's not derived from wheat. So that is why it's a lot healthier. It's packed with a lot of proteins, antioxidants, and all of these things. So it is automatically healthier, way healthier than rice. All right, the vegetables, and why I love quinoa as well, for people like me who I do not with great disdain to cook every day. Right? So, I'm telling you, look, think of it. You work here every day. If you had to go home and DJ or go home and mic your entire day for your family, would you? Let's be honest, guys.
He would create a mix.
Does he do that already?
Correct, right? And just press play and you go on in your bed, right? So, this is something that I like to do. You can literally make quinoa.
So you can meal prep.
You can meal prep out of this
Yeah.
world with quinoa.
Yeah.
All right, but we're talking about budget. I'm
Right.
horrible with spending. What are we looking at in terms
So
of this price range?
in terms of this price range, everything on this table here costed no more than $225.
And that feeding you for the week.
And this can feed you for the week
Your
one.
family for the week?
No.
Depends on your family.
If you're anybody also, you're single,
Yes.
you know, you and your or significant other, or you, well, I wouldn't give this to your
No,
dog,
no,
like,
just
you know,
me,
but
that's
just
all.
saying. All right,
Right.
you can literally, this can feed, so I literally only use 2 cups of quinoa here,
Right.
2 cucumbers, maybe 6 tomatoes, 2 onions,
Right.
some olive oil, and
kind
juice.
of chickpea.
And the can of chickpeas.
Yeah.
What I did was roasted the chickpeas with
Right.
with 1 bell pepper, and this can literally feed, this entire bowl of quinoa can feed safely 8 people,
Nice.
Ooh,
and
okay.
you're gonna be full.
Let me ask another
Question.
Because as much as I say just me, sorry there boy, I will feed you to my husband. But he's not a big fan of vegetables. And you were talking about how quinoa could be flavored and
Correct.
getting tastes out of it. So
Right,
what
so-
we had in there that particularly adds flavor, what can we substitute? What can we alternate? Still on a budget.
Exactly what I have in my hand here. So a lot of people as well sometimes try to, you know, okay, you always hear people say you should start to get healthy, you should, as you get older especially, and change your eating habits. What I always tell people is don't try to be Sylvester Stallone from jump. Gradually, so I have a sweet tooth.
Yeah, me
Right.
too.
Instead of now running to get something sweet, I would use something naturally sweet.
Gotcha.
Infuse it in the food so that you kind of wean yourself off of processed sugars.
Right. So what's the vegetables in
So
this
the
case?
vegetables I have in here, tomatoes will give you a certain depth of sweetness.
Right.
The bell peppers and chickpeas. So
Right.
you get a different kind of texture coming into play. You can
And even the purple onions have a kind of sweetness. to it
correct.
too,
Yeah, you would give 'cause those are eating onions, raw eating onions.
Yeah.
Nice.
I
But
would
tell
not
me
try.
something, Chef. A gentleman was in my ear asking on behalf of the men who aren't necessarily chefs or, you know, frequenting the kitchen very often, how
Right.
easy are these meals to prepare?
This literally took me all of.
Taking you.
Okay, no, but I keep in mind that it's layman as well that
Right.
we are showing. So
Some of them less than
from
me, yeah?
start to finish, you can literally make this in an hour and a
Right.
half from prep time to cooking time.
Alright.
Okay.
Because again, I also said I don't like to cook every day. I like to speed up that as
Cooking
well.
batch.
When
Coming
I'm
from-
actually
You're cooking in grab.
in the kitchen. Correct, yeah.
Coming from a chef. Now, chef, just for people who don't know, when you boil the quinoa, is it as simple as, like, how do you boil the quinoa?
Right, so quinoa is very straightforward. You literally have to follow these steps. You don't strain it like rice.
Right.
So it's like almost like you're steaming it. So what you do is that you put for every 1 cup of quinoa you need 2 cups of water.
Right.
You put that in, you put the water in the pot, let it get nice and hot to boil. And then once it's boiling, you turn your fire all the way down. You put in your quinoa, you cover it. 12 minutes, it's done.
Okay. And when you take it out, it's a fluffing technique.
So
have
yeah,
to do,
you
right?
take it off of the fire. After that, you don't uncover it. Just leave it. Let the residual heat
Continue to cook it.
Yeah.
finish cook it.
Yeah.
And then you take off the cover and just fluff it and leave it. Let it cool. The
Fluffing
beauty.
is just like beating.
Yeah, you
whisking. What
just
do
take a fork, just opening up
No, no, I said these terms, man.
Yeah, you just
Break it
opening
down.
it up a little bit,
You
right?
mix it up
So
with
I
a
know Kimberly is
not-
right. This is not you, but I would not put all.
But what is it?
So you said there are gentlemen that I am a meat mouth. I ain't gonna lie. So
Look here, friends.
in addition to the healthy parts of it, you can include meat as well into your diet.
The meat is healthy.
But it's just the way you cook your meat and what type of what parts of the meat you cook. So this
So
is chicken.
what is this? Right.
So this is geera chicken.
Cheers.
So instead of me using all the oil that we technically use or we have to use, or when we do cook geera, I did not use it this time. And yeah, you literally have all of your flavors going here. You have the healthy parts of the quinoa, but then you balance it off with a little sweetness from some plantain. I mean, I don't know who does not like plantain.
That's not a negative thing.
It's
And of
not. It's
course-
definitely
and I
not.
wish
Of
that the
course,
viewers
because
at
it's
home
chef,
could-
you have to put a little
I
garnish on
have
top.
to,
You like the extra stuff.
I have to fruit it
got
up.
like
man.
a
I have to grow up with this garnishes because I sure are getting sales from chef. I sure. Every time she comes here, she have a brand new one of those.
Yeah.
Bro,
It's good. It's good. It's bean
But I
sprouts.
wish the
Can't
viewers
eat
could
Brussels.
smell what we're smelling right
Wow.
now, because you've got all the flavors that are in the quinoa, all of the peppers and
Yeah.
the onions and everything. Then the geera chicken is coming coming towards us. Then you've got, listen, it is a great day to be here.
And you literally have this entire meal here for your family. Sit down, like yourself. The healthy part of this as well would be the cooking of the plantain. So we love fried plantain, but sometimes we could just boil it. It still has the same sweetness, the same kind of texture that you would, appreciate in it. Yeah. And you have a meal on a budget that can literally feed 8 people comfortably for 200.
Now, Chef, I know. Now, Chef, I'm thinking. So this is the quinoa with the plantains, but what else we could mix it with to make it still, taste good and that kind of thing?
Call a vegetable, call anything. What do you like? So, okay, so zucchini, what you would do for that, you can slightly, you could roast it just to cook it slightly. Yeah. Cut it up, put it in.
Tomatoes.
Right, so tomatoes are in it. But one thing I do have to say, anytime if you're meal prepping quinoa, or anytime you're meal prepping, tomatoes, the seeds, although they are quite delicious, they give the nice moisture to your product. Taking it out is ideal, as well as cucumber seeds, because what they do is that moisture spoils things a lot faster, gets it sour.
I was going to ask that about the onions. The onions wouldn't spoil it?
No, the onions would not. So we have this thing where cooked onions, if you don't cook onions to a certain point, or if you just saute them slightly, and you add it to food, yes, it can spoil over time because of the temperature zone that it would be in.
But once it's in its raw form?
Once it's in its raw form, if you still... can, depending on, again, temperature. So quinoa, once it is cold, if it's cold, you maintain that temperature as best as you could.
All right.
You have extras, you put it back in your fridge, right?
And for storage, just fridge?
Just fridge.
Good.
Yeah,
Sounds
fridge.
good. You're ready to eat?
$250 never looks so good.
Easy.
Whole week.
Whole week.
I would have liked to eat, but but it's how we eating.
Well, we will.
Well, this is
you'll get it.
No, she left one in the middle for you.
Yes, I did leave one in the middle for Kimberly, but I don't have.
But I don't know. So in terms of like, how does this work? In terms of like, all right. So like in this situation where Kimberly doesn't eat meat, but we put meat on the plate. Does it not?
Well, because So yes, technically most of the time, being on the same plate is something that we try to stay away from.
Right.
But again, if you have a family member that does not eat meat, you can always substitute things for and just obviously keep it on the side or do another plate.
Keep the family member on the side, or
no, put the actual meal on the side. Just not mix it.
I was just thinking that this bowl is for me. I was just thinking that I was going to take a bowl, but I didn't.
She can have the whole country dressed in
But we will absolutely enjoy this meal a little bit off camera. I mean, TV time, the plating is only because of TV time. Everybody's there, but usually it would be separated, and all together it will be enjoyed. $250 really never looks so good. Thank you, Simmone. Looking forward to the next one.
We have to look for the local brand, right? That local. Is it available at all supermarkets?
Yeah. Everything literally here, supermarket. But again, get to know your farmers. Make some friends. They give you, you go and you buy 2 pounds of tomato, they throw in an extra tray and some other things. Build the community. Build the community.
And they have all the Namdefco farmers markets that takes place every weekend, so you definitely can be a part of that. And they have other markets that take place as well, so you can definitely go meet your farmers and get to know them better.
But getting to know you on Instagram is how we're going to get the full recipe, yes?
Yes.
What's the Instagram page?
So Meraki Catering TT. Instagram, Facebook is just Meraki Catering. Right. And my website is www.merakicatering.com.
And the amazing thing is that Chef actually puts together her videos and she gives you the recipe at the end of it. So you don't have to go searching for it. I'm sure you're going to see this recipe pretty soon
for sure.
on Chef's page. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me again, guys.
Up next, we might just see this on the menu for the next event, so you want to stick around and find out what it is. This is in our morning show. Keep it locked.
Islands in the sun, islands in the fun.
For the final time? Hopefully. Ready? Yeah. Good. 10, 9.